This is Alan Farley from FX Empire. Let's take a look at this week's top stocks, ETFs, and crypto to watch. First up is the Spyder Trust. Now, the Spyder Trust had a very interesting week. As you can see, it crossed over the 200-week moving average on Monday and then spent the entire week testing it, closing very near the 5-day high. Now, if you look at this on a weekly chart, you can see that the fund posted a bull hammer reversal. Well, probably the shadow is not long enough, but kind of a bull hammer reversal right at the 50-week moving average. Now, this really looks like it's going to be a short-term low, especially on the daily volume. There was very high volume on Friday, and that's very typical of a reversal day or reversal week. Now, what's going to happen now, as you can see, we still have a weekly sell cycle here. It's slowly approaching the oversold level, so no, we're not going to go back to highs anytime soon, at least I don't think. I think we're going to try to start working our way through this big weekly bar right here, perhaps getting up towards the 460 level over the next couple of weeks. Moving on, AMD, which was a very big winner last year, has become a very big loser so far this year. As you can see, it topped out above 160 in November, and then it fell below 100 on Friday's session before bouncing. Now, this stock is very much oversold. It comes all the way down almost to the 2020 level. And I think that we're going to finally get some upside action on it. If you take a look right here, there's not much of a reversal here. However, we have come to 100% retracement of this last uptick that went up to the 160 level. I call this the first failure. It is a support level, and I think now we're probably going to get a rally, and I think a lot of people are going to be watching right over here, because we get a rally up to about the 122 level and another reversal. Then we're going to get a second head and shoulders pattern. As you can see, we have one right here. We could get a second one, which could mark an even larger scale downtrend. Meta Platforms reports earnings this week, and Meta's had a very tough quarter. As you can see, it did very nicely, breaking out during the pandemic in May, and then coming up to an all-time high right here around the 380 level in September. Now it's been grinding lower, grinding lower, grinding lower. They had a very tough quarter in October because Apple iOS, I think it's iOS 14, privacy changes has made it harder for social media companies to target demographics in their advertising. So they're starting to lose revenue and not able to charge, because they're not able to charge as much for this targeted work. So everybody's going to be watching for their advertising numbers over the quarter. Now, there have been a lot of political issues and a lot of hit pieces in journalism about Facebook, but the entire big tech universe pays a lot of money to Congress to make sure that all that stuff you hear about for regulation never happens. Next up, let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum and Bitcoin and most of the larger cryptos have finally reached support levels. In Ethereum's place, it rallied up here from September to about November, is it? No, excuse me, from July into November. And then it sold off to the 786 retracement. It sold off, got there on January 22nd, and it spent the last, 8 or 9 sessions climbing off of the 786 retracement. Now, this is pretty good news. On a weekly basis, you can see it's come down to the oversold level, and it's crossing over into a buy cycle. Now, are we going to get a new high out of this? Probably not. If you take a look at the monthly has just entered a very kind of a brutal sell cycle that's going to probably persist for a while. So for the time being, I think we got to look at Ethereum as having bounce potential, but probably either right here at 3,900 or wherever this 50-day moving average goes over the next couple of weeks as being about the limit point. As you can see, we've had failures to the 50-day going back all the way to December. Finally, Amazon reports earnings this week, and Amazon's had a very tough time along with other tech stocks. Now, it entered this big sideways range back in July of 2020, and it held it, climbing this trend line up here into January, breaking this trend line, then breaking these two lows right here. You can see how it ended the week. It's come right back up to these prior lows, and it probably could enter it. But right here is where the real breakdown has occurred. It's going to take a lot of energy to get back up to 3,300. So as this 50-day moving average moves down, I think it's going to limit any oversold bounce. So somewhere probably between about 3,000 and 3,200 would be upside potential for an Amazon bounce.